Whoo, I'm a work in progress. See, the enemy, Corinthians says, if we're ignorant of the enemy's devices, and then we don't know God still has use for us. We don't know God has the ability to work with us, young folks, with all of our messes. Yes. And usually the enemy gets us through ignorance, the lack of information. And information sometimes come through mistakes. I don't know if y'all mama taught y'all this, but my mama told me this. She said, boy, there's something you need to know. Yes, ma'am, what it is? Bought sense. See, this generation, we try to keep our children from everything. Oh, y'all don't hear what I'm saying? That's how come the average, I'm going to say this and this ain't going to go good because you're talking about folk children. The average young person cannot work because they don't know nothing about heat. They can't stand no heat. You take 17, 18, 19-year-old boy, if he sweat and his shirt, he about to have a heat stroke. He got to have some water, and he got to have a fan, and oh, y'all don't hear what I'm saying? You got to hire a yard man with boys in your house. All that doing is raising another lazy set of boys. I tell women this: if you had trouble with a man, how could you afford to raise sorry men? If you had trouble with a man who wouldn't do what he's supposed to do, who wouldn't take care of you, who wouldn't do whatever, don't ever authenticate your kids ever to do the same thing that you had trouble with. This generation don't know nothing about work. Most young folk don't know nothing about work. They can't handle nothing on the job. If they're on the job, people raise their voice out and they ready to quit. Ain't nobody gonna be hollering at me. And God forbid if they mess around and cuss. Now all they CDs, everything they look at on TV, cuss. And when they cuss at them on the job, it's like they really say, oh, they cussed me on the job. I don't understand that. I remember my daughter told me one day, she was young. She was probably, I guess she was about 16, 17 years old. She come home, Dad, they were cussing at me on the job. And the lady was fussing at me and she cussed me out. I said, Ann, what you want me to do? She said, well, she was cussing at me and I'm just a child. I said, don't you get minimum wages? She said, yeah. I said, well, they pay you like a grown person. And if they pay you like a grown person, they can cuss you like a grown person. Go back to work. Because see, they gonna cuss you on jobs, and you know what? If you work long enough, you gonna cuss you on the job. Because it ain't never fun, it ain't never easy, and some days, boy, in some words, you gonna cuss you on the way to work. You gonna cuss you getting up, out, you gonna cuss the clock. Oh, y'all don't hear what I'm saying? Have you ever looked at the clock and told that clock go off one more time? You done hit the snooze button about 20 times. And if you tell it, you get 5, you do it again. I'm going to need a clock by the next day. Y'all don't hear what I'm saying. Because see, watch this. If the enemy can get you through deceptions, because watch this here, he can deceive you. He can get you to a place to where God has no use for you. The world was turned upside down through deception. And the enemy can deceive you, convince you that God has no ability to use you because you doing this and you're struggling with this. God says, I know you got issues. When I call you, you had issues, and I expect for you to keep coming with you and your issues until we get your issues fixed. Because trust me, somebody need to know that you ain't always had it together. I wish I could talk to somebody today, because see, church folks always want to lie like they always had it together. Sometimes you just have to be real and say, I understand, I feel you, I understand you. I'm still gonna tell you, it ain't got no fruit, but I understand you. You know, that's why I tell folks, because you know, if you tell the truth, nobody sinned and it was miserable. No. know, if you sin, you was having fun. That's why when it was time for you to stop, they had to keep calling you. Because it's hard to stop having fun when you used to having fun. And it's a habit. It's just fun. It's just habit. You know, just get up. You just having fun. You know, and that's the funny part. You could muster up energy to destroy yourself and don't even have energy to bless yourself. How you could stay out of the club all night long and get up and go to work, and now you stay at home drinking, doing all your thing, doing everything, and can't even come to church. Always gonna catch it later. You never caught the club later or anything else you wanted to do. Don't make me go there either. And so what happens is, when we learn to feel people, because church should be a place of restoration, we should be able to restore people, and because the church is a place of condemnation, it's not a place of restoration. I told him this morning, church is not a place, it's a place, should be, that if I hit a bad place, I can find some help. I should be able to go to church and find some help. But let me tell you something, you can hit a bad place and find no help at church, because church folk all want to tell you what you already know. Church folk always want to tell you what you already know. You hear the famous word, now you know that was wrong. That's why I came here, because I know it was wrong. And if I know it was wrong, you tell me what I need to do to help make it right. I don't need you to diagnose me with a problem I already know I got. I need you to tell me why I got this issue and how to get it fixed. But most folk can't tell you how to get it fixed because they got the same problem and they have not fixed it over a period of time, so they're not sure on telling you how to fix it. And so what happens is the enemy just feeds us with foolishness, and he just feeds us with condemnation, a condemning spirit. I mean, the church is really not a place that you need to go to. It's bad. Look at somebody, tell them, but it's true. It's bad that we have people who don't understand how to get us out of places, or to do, the Bible say if a brother and sisterin is overtaken in a fault, and then he turns around and says, those of you that are spiritual, he says, I need y'all to restore them in the spirit of meekness, realizing it could have been you. See, you can't restore nobody when you think you can't be caught. But the problem is, God will turn around and let you get caught with the same thing that you thought you put other folk down in. Be careful. Look at your neighbor, tell them, be careful. Be careful how you put your foot on other folk, because God can let you get caught in the same thing. And you know what I like about that? When we caught in the same thing, now we want to talk about the mercies of God. But when I was caught in it, you want to talk about the wrath of God. Now, no, hear the main words. People just don't understand. Because watch this. 2 Corinthians chapter 5, verse 18 says, and all things are of God, who have reconciled us to himself by Christ Jesus, and have given us the ministry of reconciliation. Because in 17 said, therefore, if any man be in Christ, he's a new creature. Watch this. He's a new creature. He's in the act of being recreated. He's in the act of being, old things have passed away, and behold, all things are become new. Process working. Just wake up. Some people can drop some things and some people can't. Everybody can't just stop immediately. And I hope and pray everybody can, but that's not likely. In other words, at some points I have to learn how to take inventory of my own life. Because if I got the ministry of reconciliation, that's my gift, is to reconcile people back to God. But I can't reconcile people back to God when I'm beating people away from God. And I'm beating people away from God because I'm using God to beat the people. So what happens is people struggle because they would rather be somewhere that somebody could bless their lives, but they can't come because it's too many church folk. And it's church folks who forget they are work in progress. It's a progression of time that helps me to get there. I don't get there overnight. It's God working with me. Look at somebody, tell them God's working with me. See, it's not about how much I'm different from you, but it's really how much I'm like you. If you're going to be an evangelist, people want to know how much are we similar. That's why I tell folks, goody two-shoe folks, you really don't, you're going to have trouble. Because most of the folks you're going to have to witness to ain't never been goody two-shoes. They ain't never had two shoes. And then here you are trying to tell them how good you are. You never tell them how good he is and that he's the one who blessed you. You trying to tell them what you didn't do. And you never told them what you did do. Oh, y'all don't hear what I'm saying. And oftentimes, even when people get into their seasoned years, they have no knowledge and they have no wisdom because they so easily forget what they was delivered from. That's why most folk can't even deal with their children, because when you talk to your children, you forgot where you came from. You forgot what you did. And people think, this day and time, this generation don't raise children from a respect perspective. We raise them from an equality position. And when we raise them from equality, and then folks, well, my children would tell me everything. And I tell them, dummy, you didn't tell everything. And if you didn't tell everything, what makes you think your children gonna tell everything? Your children will tell you just enough to keep your dumb self where they need to keep you. Why? Because they children's. Ain't no sense of you trying to act like your children are just dropped out and they're going to be so grand and wonderful. And another thing, folks, not children don't want their children. You got babies. They don't want their children to go through nothing. They don't want their children to have to struggle. They really don't want their children to have to do anything. That's crazy. That's why children come up trying to be little dope sellers and trying to get stuff fast and quick, because here you wouldn't pay the light bill to get a pair of Jordans, because you got to make sure they keep up with the crowd. They're going to wear some Bobos and we're going to have some lights. That's what it's going to be. And if that don't work, then I don't care. You can go barefoot. You can wear flip-flop shoes if you want to. But I'm finna pay this light bill so your behind got some lights up in here. Oh, y'all don't hear what I'm saying. We do stupid stuff. We do stuff that don't make no sense. This generation of business is trying to be equal. We're trying to be friends, and we're not trying to keep our children in places where they can learn the things they need to learn. And if the money tight in the house, money tight on you too. Y'all don't hear what I told my kids years ago when we were going through, all of us going through bankruptcy. It ain't just me. How y'all figure I'm going through bankruptcy and y'all can still shop? The devil is a lie. No, you short too. Where we used to have a turkey, we're gonna have a hen. And we all gonna eat chicken and be satisfied, because God gonna give us another turkey one day. But today we ain't got the turkey no more. We got the hen, and y'all gonna be satisfied. I'm not finna go through all this by myself. I ain't getting in it by myself, because if I didn't have to pay for you and pay for your issues and pay for your school and pay for all that, I could have paid some other stuff. But since I had to pay for this, you going through it too. If we ain't got nothing but cereal to eat, get you a bowl of milk and some cereal, bless them things and eat them, and we going to bed. I'm not trying to get you no McDonald's when we ain't got nothing but a bowl of cereal. You better sit down and eat them cereal and be thankful for the cereal.